Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Holisatul. My ID number 2019-6010. So now I'd like to describe about chapter 3, equivalence and equivalent effect. Okay, the new debate revolved around certain key linguistic issues in the 1960s and 1916. 15 and 1916, for more systematic analysis, the most prominent were those of meaning and equivalence discussed in Roman Jacobson in 1959. In structuralist, Roman Jacobson describes three kinds of translations. Those are intralingual, interlingual, and instrumentic. With interlingual, severing of translation between different writing systems, Jacobson goes on to examine key issues of this type of translations, notably linguistic, meaning, and equivalence. Jacobson follows the theory of language proposed by the famous Swiss linguist system and specific individual utterance. He differentiated between the signifier and the signified, which together create the linguistic sense. Jacobson then moves on to consider the theory problem of equivalence in meaning between words in different language. Part of Saussure problem and reasons that would part be traveled and not such. On the one hand, linguistic universal considers that although language may differ in the way convey meaning and the sacrifice realizations of the meaning, there is a shared way turning, thinking, and experience the world. On the one hand, linguistics relatively in or determinism language shows different conceptualization of the word. This is the most several hypothesis that hides its roots in the behaviorism and in the 1970s and the anthropological study of the Native American language. For linguistics relatively, of course, translation does occur in all sorts of different contexts and language parts. In Jacobson's description, for lingual translation involves substitute units, but for the messages in some other language, thus a translation of cartridges would not be the TT unit for cartridge plus the unit for cheese, and for the message to be equivalent. And then the coded units will increasingly be different since they belong to different systems, which positions related differently. For Jacobson, shows linguistic differences with underlying an equivalence center around objective differences which underlie and the concept of equivalence. The language differ essentially in what they must convey and wrote in what they may convey. Examples of differences are easy to find. They occur at First, the level of gender. House is feminine in Romance, masculine in French, German, and Italian, feminine in Spanish, neither in English, etc. And then the level of aspect in Russian. The verb morphology varies according to whether the action has been completed or not. And then the third, the level of semantic fields such as kinship terms. The German gesture is normally explained in English as brothers and sisters, since prince is rather normal. Similarly, in Chinese, it would be literally meaning elder brother, younger brother, older sister, and then younger sisters. Eugene Snyder's theory of translation development developed from his own practical work from the 1940s onwards, when he was translating and organizing the translations of the Bible. Training Chomsky generated transformational model grammar. Chomsky generated analyzes sentence into a series of related levels covered by rules. In a very simplified form, the key features of this model can be summarized as follows. First, phrase structure rules generate an underlying object. Second, structure which is transformed by transformational rules relating one underlying structures to another, rules relating underlying structures to another. And then for the third, to reduce available sacrifice structures, which itself is subject to phonological and morphemic rules. The most basic of such structures are internal sentences, which are simple, active, declarative sentences that require the minimum of transformations. NIDA incorporates key features of Chomsky model into NIDASys, that it provides the translator with a technique for decoding the ST and procedure with for encoding the TT, just as camel sentences were the most basic structure Chomsky, and then initial model. So for NIDA and Taylor Kenner are the basic structure element out of which language built. And then this eternal analyze using generated transformation grammars for types of functional class. The first is even, often but not always, performed by verbs run, fall, go, think. And then for the second, objects after but not always performed by nouns like man, house, horse, mountain, table. And then for the third, abstract quantities and qualities, including adjectives and adverbs. For example, like red, blank, slowly. Then for the fourth, relations, including affairs and courts, including the adjective prepositions, conjunctions and couples, like pray, into, of, and because, be, etc. Okay, maybe that's all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.